Imagine getting such a huge influx of leads that you can barely handle it. You don't even know what to do with all of them. And the average income level of every one of those leads being $100,000 a year. So you know they can afford your program, and they're open to business opportunities and coaching opportunities and looking for high value, high ROI programs. Just imagine what that could look like in your business, because that is what can happen when you leverage LinkedIn properly, and specifically when you leverage a mix of social selling and attraction marketing. So that's what we're discussing today. Let's jump in and dig into the details. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. I'm super excited because today I'm here with Melissa Henault. She's the mom of 3 self-proclaimed burnt out corporate professional to all-out entrepreneur. She's climbed the corporate ladder to the pinnacle of her career, where she decided to leave her corporate career to pursue her dreams of being her own boss. How many of you can identify with that? Yes, please, and thank you. From there, she now runs 2 thriving businesses. She's a LinkedIn social selling expert who's highly sought after to teach others how to generate viable leads for their business, and also a top income earner in her social selling company. Can't wait to dig into all of that. Melissa's passion is to inspire more burnouts to take control once and for all and build out the dream life they deserve, living all out just like her. So welcome, Melissa. I'm so excited to have you here with us today.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. This is going to be fun.
Yes, absolutely. And I couldn't be more excited about kind of what you stand for and what you're doing. I feel like far too many entrepreneurs are stuck in what I call that overworked hustler mode, where they're doing all the things, and a lot of it they're doing manually. They're doing it themselves, because we all start as solopreneurs, right? And you start to burn out. I can absolutely identify with that. I remember being in that space. And so to have someone who's been there, done that, and come through it to talk with us, I'm really excited. So before we dig into all things LinkedIn and social selling in general, can you tell us just a little bit about your story as an entrepreneur and how you moved into this interesting space of being an expert on LinkedIn and social selling and everything that comes with networking?
Sure, absolutely. So I guess what you should know about me is that I actually was a corporate executive in my previous life for a Fortune 500. And I had climbed to the top of Mount Everest thinking I was going to be like CEO one day. That was my vision, right? And I got to the top of the mountain with 2 little kids in diapers and realized I'd climbed the wrong mountain. And I didn't know how I was going to continue at that pace for the next 20 years. Either my health was going to suffer, my relationship with my spouse was going to suffer, or my nanny was going to raise my kids. And it's not that I didn't want to work and I didn't want to work hard. I just needed more control over my schedule, right? And so I leaned into an e-commerce business while I was still working full-time, and realized that given I was a working professional, that not many people who were in the social selling space were actually using LinkedIn to recruit for their businesses, for their high-end coaching, for anything. And so I leaned in and started learning the method of attraction marketing, just as I learned on Instagram and Facebook, but applying it to LinkedIn, and created and coined my own method, which allowed me to scale my first e-commerce business to 6 figures in about a year and a half. And then baby 3 was born. And at that point, I retired from corporate America and had the entrepreneurial bug, and realized that I was onto something with this attraction marketing, and that it wasn't something that I needed to just keep for my business. So I hired a business coach who was an expert in her field, making millions, coaching herself. And I had her, after like nearly vomiting and handing over all this money, it was the biggest investment I'd ever made in my life for my own business. I invested in her, and she helped me propel my concept globally to what we now call the LinkedIn Method Academy, where I teach people attraction marketing on LinkedIn to generate viable leads for either their high ticket coaching, goods or services, or even their business, whether they're network marketers or franchise owners looking for investors, capital investors, you name it, but the strategy is still the same. And so it's been a wild ride, and it's been a lot of fun. So that's a little bit about my journey.
Oh, fascinating. So two things that I love about that is first thing, you had that moment where you made like a large investment, so large that it kind of made you want to like throw up a little bit.
Yeah.
I've been there. I know that, but isn't there something amazing that comes out of the other side of that too, of like
100%.
betting on yourself truly unlocks everything. So I love that you shared that.
100%. And I talk about this with my clients all the time. You know, the transformation is in the transaction, right? And that level of financial commitment, I was going to do whatever she told me to do. Right?
Yeah. Because you were like, there's no way I can just throw that much money in the trash. I'm going to do the thing. And that's the hard part. Learning what to do is easy. Doing it, that's hard.
Yep.
Yeah. And obviously you got the results to prove it. So that's fascinating. That's fascinating. And then, you know, just the fact that you've taken it into practice and systematized it, and now you're helping so many other people to do the same thing. But it's not just the other thing I love about your story. Good marketing is good marketing. Attraction marketing is always good marketing, right? And when you have good marketing, you can use it to sell anything, high-end coaching, network marketing, like you name it. Good marketing works everywhere.
100%. You just have to know who you're attracting, provide value, and know how to grow your network strategically. And that's something we really coach to inside the academy. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit. I know you said before, once you learned attraction marketing, you realized, I can use this on Facebook or Instagram, but why not LinkedIn? So what makes LinkedIn such a unique platform, specifically if you're looking for clients and customers, especially like high-end clients and customers? What makes LinkedIn so uniquely special for that purpose?
Yeah, so let's talk about it. What do you think the average income is for the Instagram and Facebook user? Average.
Maybe 35, 40,000 a year, if I had to guess.
It's actually less than that. It's about 23, but you were close. Okay. What do you think the average income is for the average LinkedIn user?
75,000? Higher. Over 100?
100,000. Okay. So number one, their purchasing power is significantly higher. Now, I also want you to think about, why do people go to different platforms? Okay. So on the user end, when you're not trying to run your business, why do you go to Instagram and Facebook?
Leisure, to have fun, to be entertained, to waste time.
Exactly. Yeah. Why do people go to the number one business to business social media platform?
To network or to get some business done. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. And so what we know, actually, it's been published third year in a row that LinkedIn is the number one most trusted social media platform. Okay. So people trust it more, and they're there for professional development, growing a network, and looking for personal development as well. And they make more money. And I have clients who sell very high ticket coaching programs that, and again, like high ticket in franchise investments, right? And you're really honing in on an ideal market landscape and demographic when you're playing on the LinkedIn platform, right? Okay, let me ask you a couple more questions. What do you think, what's the number one device people use when they're on Instagram and Facebook?
Probably their smartphone, right?
Yep, you got it. What's the number one device people use on LinkedIn?
I'm guessing it's not a smartphone.
No, it's not. It's a computer. So let's talk about that. Okay. What I want to unpack here is mindset of the user. Okay. All these people on LinkedIn, I can guarantee you the majority of them have an Instagram and Facebook account. Okay. But they're on Instagram and Facebook to get the dopamine hit, to see their friends, to catch up on the gossip, just like everyone else, while they're multitasking at a soccer game, in the elevator, at a stoplight, on the toilet, right? So that's a very different mindset than when they're sitting at their desk, more undivided attention on a desktop, where they're more focused on business, connecting, personal development. They get in there and they stay in there. They're not on the go with a dopamine hit. They're not multitasking, watching Netflix, right? And so if you have a product or service that revolves around personal development, professional development, investing in an opportunity, whether it's capital investment, real estate, you name it, financial advisors, you're much more likely to hit your audience at a time when they're open to the discussion. Does that make sense?
Oh, completely. Absolutely. And I could see how that would, the mindset that you come in with plays a big role in how committed you are towards any action you take when you're there.
Totally. And let me ask you this, and this is good for all of your listeners. Okay. What happened last week when Facebook went dark and Instagram? How did that make you feel?
Irritated, annoyed, and then I quickly jumped to other platforms.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the good thing is you were able to pivot and get on other platforms. A lot of folks who are building heavily on Instagram and Facebook don't know how to pivot, right? And so we were operating as normal because we do a lot of business on LinkedIn, right? So it's really important to have more than your primary source for attraction marketing, recruitment, and it's important to know where your audience is hanging out, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And the last thing I'll ask you is, what do you think the average age of the Instagram, Facebook user is?
24?
That's right. It's right around 23, 24, right? What do you think the average age is for LinkedIn?
34, maybe?
It's actually 35. Yes, you nailed it. So the key is to know who your audience is, where they hang out, and what you're trying to monetize, right? If they're in their mid 30s and above, and you're looking for someone with investing capital who's looking for development, investment, professional, personal development options. A lot of people are really hyperactive on the platform right now, looking for a different career. So if you're a business coach, a mindset coach, if you're a direct salesperson looking for business partners, right? That's super, super active over there right now because of disruption in the past year and a half.
Oh, yeah. Well, and tons of people are they learn to work from home. They learn they like it. They want to keep working from home. They don't necessarily want to go back to that corporate office, right? They're open to ideas.
100%. 100%. And so it's just an incredible place. And the last thing I said that was the last, but this will be the last. Do you follow Gary Vaynerchuk?
Oh, of course. Who doesn't follow Gary?
Right. So Gary, one of his most recent episodes, he talked about LinkedIn, and he talked about how if you're in business and you're not on the platform, you're obsolete. And he talked about how you can either be the best at a mature platform like Instagram and Facebook. So if you're new and you're launching a business, good luck, right? Or you can be first to a growing platform. And so just in the past year, has LinkedIn allowed people to apply to go live on the platform? A lot of people don't know how to do it, but those who are doing it are getting massive organic views. The algorithms are unadulterated. Like if you remember Facebook 10 years ago, where you made a post and like someone liked or commented and like you saw what everybody else was posting, it wasn't just like your comment, it was organic, right? Now there's so many layers of complexities with the platform. And you don't see that on LinkedIn. The organic reach is bananas when you go live. 24 times more comments, 12 times more, just 12 times more engagement in total. But you also get to collect demographic information. I mean, you get to get people's email addresses when you host a live event. So there's just like so many cool things about the platform. And it's a wide open, what we call blue ocean of opportunity, because most people in social selling, and I use social selling, it's like whatever you sell, whether it's a product, a service, a goods. Like if you're online and you're trying to monetize it, it is underrated the impact and opportunity on LinkedIn because not a lot of social sellers are over there because they don't know how to market themselves properly.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we were talking a little bit before we started filming, and I would love to just kind of like let the audience have a little peek into that conversation of, when you started teaching people your unique method on LinkedIn and they started having results. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened?
Sure. Yeah. So it's funny because it started with the basics of like LinkedIn and attraction marketing. And last year we found that we were generating so many leads for our clients. They didn't know how to handle it or how to create automation and create ease in their life because they were getting so many leads. So we actually launched a second phase of the program, teaching automation and funnels and pre-qualifying clients, just a whole back end. And then that evolved into a full-blown academy. We realized people needed 6 months intensive to like really make this bad boy run. From there, a lot of our clients were getting so many leads and growing a really effective business. They didn't have time anymore to actually manage the leads that were coming in. And they begged us. They had tried other VA agencies that just didn't know our method. Without getting into details, we're very strategic. I have a very formulaic way to grow your brand, grow the right audience, and attract them towards you and pre-qualify them. So we decided that we would offer up a VA service within our community. And it just took off like wildfire. And we got to a point where we had some tippity top income earners have multi-million-dollar businesses. And they were like, this is awesome. Can you just do all of it for us? So we were like, okay. So then we launched this high-end boutique service where we actually soup to nuts manage the whole thing. So we're just doing what our clients are asking for. Like where there's a gap, we're just creating a solution and bringing it back to them.
And I love that story because time and time and time again, every time I've spoken to an entrepreneur who's being wildly successful, whatever it is their clients are telling them they need, instead of saying, oh, that's not me, go find someone else, they create it. Like find the gap, fill the gap. And that's exactly what you guys are doing, which is encouraging. But the reason I wanted to make sure the audience heard about this was, you guys imagine, I know a lot of you watching, the biggest complaint I hear about most often is, I don't have enough people to talk to. So imagine having so many people to talk to that your number one complaint is, I can't keep up with all these leads.
Yes. It's a wonderful place to be. Like we have clients who are like, I have to stop growing my connections because your verbiage works so well. So we have these whole scripts of like what to include in your request to connect. They're like, everyone's responding and wants to get into conversation. So I have to like pace myself in growing those connections, which is a really good place to be. It's a good problem to have, you know?
Yeah. And imagine having so many leads come in and so much success in signing those leads into customers or clients or whoever you're looking for, that you then have the money available to hire an agency to start doing it for you. Like that is how effective this method works. So can we, without getting into like nitty-gritty details, can you tell us just a high level overview of like this method you've created? Because another thing I've seen time and time again, those who are successful, so audience pay attention, are the ones who find something that works, put structure and systems around it so you can systematize it over and over and over.
100%.
That's when things scale, honestly.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So we have a 7-step method I can very succinctly walk you through.
Yeah.
And I want you to liken it to building a car, driving a car, and putting the car in automatic. So in our academy, there's really like 3 phases, right? Like if you're in the program for 6 months, your first 2 months, you're building the car. So it takes some time to build out your profile in a way that is attracting your ideal clients. So many of our clients come in with this employee mindset, and they've got like their resume of their career, and their title is really their accolades, instead of actually leveraging their title to attract clients by talking about their value proposition, right? So in the first month or two, we really get tight on what is your value proposition? Who is it you're trying to attract? And how can we brand that on your virtual business store landing page, right? Mm-hmm. And then from there, that's really building the car, building the engine, right? Now that you've got a good brand representation of yourself, you know who you want to manifest into your business. Yeah. We teach you how to drive it, right? So that comes down to strategic network growth. Like you can have the best content on the planet and you can have the best landing page, but if you have the wrong audience, it's falling on deaf ears. So we teach how to strategically grow your network so that your feed starts to get filled with the ideal audience, right?
Yeah.
And then we fold in your branding, meaning your branding content. So you have to build out your virtual storefront first, the landing page or profile page. Then you start strategically growing your network. And then the third piece is that you really start working through content that attracts your avatar to you through providing value. So we really unpack that inside the academy and build out what we call 4 or 5 brand pillars to create know, love, and trust, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're continuing to drive. What happens next? You're connecting in the DMs. So we really talk about strategic verbiage that converts from the DMs to the phone, from the DMs to a Zoom call. And at that point, you really need to get into automation, because that's putting the car in cruise control, because now you've got all these leads. You're bringing in all these clients or business partners, and you've got to lead and be the CEO. You no longer need to be the technician on the back end. You're now a CEO. And so you want to create some systems on the back end to pre-qualify your leads and automate from the pre-qualification, discovery calls with potential prospective clients, business partners, you name it. And then we really teach a method to the follow-up. We teach our favorite CRM and how to strategically follow up with a method and a formula that really has worked for us. And so again, just to recap, build the car, drive the car, put the car in automatic, which really breaks down to building out your profile, growing your targeted audience, attraction marketing through really tightening up your brand presence, connecting in the DMs, pre-qualifying your leads, getting into that automation of discovery calls in your calendar, and the follow-up formula with the CRM, which is a customer relations management system to really track your follow-up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know tons of the audience watching, like they're motivated, they're ambitious, they're ready to go out there and finally start making some money on social media. And the number one thing I hear most of the time is, if someone would just tell me the steps to do, like just give me a system to follow, I'll do it. I just need someone to give me the roadmap, right? And so that's exactly what you've done. So of course, no shocker that you've grown very, very quickly to the point that your clients can't even keep up with all their leads. So it totally makes sense. And it's one thing to hear about the outline of this, and it's a totally different thing to appreciate, again, putting it into practice. That's always the hard part, right? That's always where the challenge comes in, but that's also where the magic happens too. Yeah.
Totally.
So any last minute, I guess, advice or tips for people who are just looking to get started on LinkedIn, the best way to get started for them?
Yeah. So I think the best way to get started is to get into the recruitment and business owner mindset. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, the only time they've ever been on LinkedIn was when they were looking for a job. And if you're coming to this platform to recruit, whatever your end recruitment thing is, you need to be crystal clear on what the value add you have. And we really coach inside of our academy, the hook. How are you pulling them in based off your headline? How are you pulling them in based off your summary? How are you focusing on what you can do for them versus your accolades? The biggest mistake people make is they waste space in their headline with their accolades, podcaster, keynote speaker, blah, 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 blah. The person you're trying to recruit does not care until they know what you can do for them. Right. So rephrase how you're titling yourself. You can gloat and talk about all the great things you do inside the body of your profile. Don't waste it on your headline. Think about how you can captivate people to want to come to your profile in the first place, because keynote speaker, author, podcaster is not going to pull them to your page, right? Right. So
they're seeing like everything that's of interest to you, but they want to see what's of interest to them. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And I'll give you an example. So one of my private clients was a pharmacist, and in her headline, she had keynote speaker, author, podcaster, and she wasn't getting any leads when she first started her program. And I asked her, I said, what are you using LinkedIn for right now? And she said, well, I'm looking to find pharmacists who want coaching on pivoting in their careers. Mm-hmm. And I said, so when you're in a comment section with a number of pharmacists, hundreds of comments fly in, and your headline says author, keynote speaker, do you think they're wanting to come check out your page? Or what if we rephrased it and made your headline something like career pivot coach for pharmacists? And she was like, okay. So we changed her headline, and literally like overnight, she was getting messages out the wazoo from pharmacists who wanted to get the hell out of the careers that they were in. But she hadn't been attracting what she wanted. She was too busy gloating about her own accomplishments. Do you see what I'm saying?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love this piece of advice because it's great for the people who are just getting started, but also even if you've been on the platform for a while and you've just never really thought of using it for your business, or it was always like the second string platform you never had time for, it can work for you, for those people too, to like clean things up and really start actually leveraging it or just being more efficient with it than they were before.
Totally.
I love
Absolutely.
it.
Yes.
I love it. Now I understand that you have a free gift for our audience that can really help them to step into leveling up LinkedIn if that's what they know is next on their goal board. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So one of my favorite resources that my clients love and they use inside the program, and I give it out for free, is an income producing checklist of activities that you can be doing on LinkedIn daily to nurture, build your brand, build your connections, and grow your presence on LinkedIn. So you can grab that at do you want me to give them my website, or
I'll put a button, look for the button. There'll be a button that says grab the free gift.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
well,
thank you. People will really enjoy using that just to get oriented. And if you can't get through the whole list in 30 minutes, commit to a third of the list 3 times a week so that you're getting through the list once a week. And when you start getting traction, you'll make time for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll become really motivating, right? It's like when you've been working out nonstop and you finally start to see some changes in your body, you get like addicted and you want to do it more. So for any of you who have been thinking LinkedIn is next on your list, it's the platform you really want to pivot to, especially if your number one objection has been like, I don't have the money right now.
Totally.
LinkedIn, right?
You don't get that objection on LinkedIn. You don't.
Right. Yeah. If you're going to get one, it's going to be something else.
It's usually time because they're very busy.
Busy people. Right. And you've been looking for that easy button where you're like, listen, I will do all the things. I just need a quick hit list of what to do. That's exactly what Melissa has for you today. So definitely be sure to scoop up that free gift and take action on it, because you guys, I can tell you from experience, it's the people who zero in on just 1 or 2 key things out of an event like this and then take action on them. Those are the people who get the results. So thank you so much, Melissa. We so appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on today.
Bye.
Awesome. Yay. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Impactful Entrepreneurs Show with Adrienne Hill, where we support coaches, course creators, and network and affiliate marketers to translate their big picture vision into actionable plans to build out their business efficiently. If you love our show, we invite you to visit buildalifebydesign.com to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover more helpful resources. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and share. Thank you for listening.